What's up, guys? We're gonna 𝗀𝗎𝗣𝗘. Today we'll be showing you guys how to make music digitally. If you guys haven't subbed already, turn my songs do so, because this is live. Let's hop right into it. So pretty much we're gonna go in depth on how to build your melodies, and I'm gonna be giving you a bunch of patterns that you can use for that. But there might be too many, so that there might be a part 2 for this video. So if you enjoy it, make sure you stay tuned for the next one. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so quickly I just want to explain what is making music. Now, to me, what making music is the act of trying different ideas. Okay, the reason I want to say this is because a lot of people get frustrated that it doesn't sound good right away or whatever, but I want them to understand what they're doing is something that is supposed to take some time. It's not supposed to be perfect, right? So if you just have like a little melody, right, like this, okay, the act of making your track, right, is saying, okay, what will be the best notes to go with this first idea? And we could switch it up. Let's just say this is your idea, okay? And then you have these other notes. If we finish this scale out, okay, right, it doesn't sound that great, but you kind of get what I'm saying. So you're like, I don't like that, let me change it around, try something else. Okay, and that is what you're doing when you're making your music. All right, so let's go ahead and make our first chords. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the chords, and this won't be over the basics, it'll be over reshaping and recoloring the chords. So let's grab it a scale. So let's run with a major, because we can kind of get away with a lot with the major, and it'll be a lot easier to make our chords. So first we just need 4 chords here, so let's just do a little dyad, and then let's copy these over like this. And then if we go back here, we can make a chord backwards almost, and then we could just find like a little harmony. So we know we want to put this on C, and then pull this down, probably, I think that'll work. Okay, super happy chords. All right, so when we have these, what I want to show you is kind of recolor these, is use a method. It's like a +1 and remove method. So the +1 part would just be adding a note to the chord. So it could be any note in between or outside. Usually just one away, right? Something like that, or upward, however you want to do it. And once you add one of these notes, you want to remove one. So it could be the same note if you want to pull it down an octave, or it could be another note, right? And this is how you can get like cool combination, and it's up to you. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do here. So let's go ahead and do that. So with here, we can do +1, pull it down. Okay, pretty simple. Here, let's do one right here, and let's just see. Let's try these. We might make this a little smaller. Okay, so I like that. And over here, let's say you want to, and I'm just trying to do different ones. So let's say you want to do something like that, right? You want to pull this down an octave. So this will be our like +1, right? And then what you can do is pull down some other notes. So you can remove one of these notes. It could be this one. Nope, I don't like that. Okay, sounds a lot better. Okay, and then over here, I don't know, let's do another +1 so we can kind of keep this harmony. All right, and then we could just remove one of these other notes to kind of spread them out. You could take this further if you want to, but this is kind of the gist of it. So those are the chords, and let's get to making these melodies. All right, so for our first pattern, this is a super basic one, but it's an important one to know. It's meat and potatoes. Now, these are made up names just for fun. So the meat part would be this red part, and this would be like the most memorable part of the melody. Now, does it have to actually look like this and be in these areas? No, it doesn't, but this is like the common typical ones. Okay, and then the pink area would be like the potatoes, or where the support notes would be. So for example, let's do something like this, and if we pull this up, something like that, right? So these notes will be supporting this main note, and this is where the main melody, or the catchiest part, will be. Okay, and then let's just add some other notes in here. Let's just use some little hacks here. All right. Okay, and they all work together, but the main catchy part is like where this will hit, right? So without this doesn't sound that great. Well, this doesn't sound good, and then we could just use this just for some variation. Okay, so that is that, and let's go ahead and move on to the second pattern. All right, so now we have rhythm and placement. So this will be if you want to purposely put bounce and rhythm into your melodies. Okay, so I think it's important to know how to do this. So we have on the grid, which is literally every like beat like this. It'll work. There you go, like that. All right, so in between those beats, you have notes right here. Okay, and these are like the off beats. And when you combine on the grid and off the grid, you'll get some bounce, or you know, on beat, off beat, right? So let's say, for example, let's remove these, just pull them over here for reference, right? Let's pick a note. All right, so if we have something like this, you could do something like that, and then go on the grid. Okay, or the opposite, or you could do something like this and just change the note. Right, and then you can combine other notes. Say, let's do some stuff like that. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of copy these over. Oops, and then let's just do some unique little rhythms here. Right. Right, you can just have as much fun as you want with it. Let's copy this over. Spread these out, and then pull these over, spread them out like that. All right, so these are our originals, okay, just so you can see those. And I'm gonna just put them back, and let's add one more up top. Let's see. Right, and we're combining a lot of these offbeat and on beats, right? This is offbeat, on beat, right? To kind of get this crazy little bounce we got going on. All right, so that is the rhythm, and let's move on to our next one. All right, so our next pattern would be A.B.A.C. Okay, so this will kind of refer to variation of the same type of melody. So let's take this. So say this is our melody, just for example, right? So in this section, we would have A. Right, if you see in order, we will have A right here. So this will be the exact same melody. So let's do one of these. Right, so this is the A section. So we would just copy this over. Right, and then our main start is the same, but kind of the end part will be different. So B, we would have to come up with a different melody here. So we can use something like that. And then over here for C, we would need a different melody other than these two, right? So let's make this easy. Copy that up. Let's see. Probably switch them. All right, and I'm gonna color these real quick. Let's just do these so it's different. And then let's make this one a different color. Let's do like red. Okay, here we go. All right, so that is another pattern. Let's move on to the next. All right, so now we have linger and wiggle notes. So I've talked about these before, but I'm gonna do them both together because it'll be pretty quick. So linger notes are just notes that kind of hang out, and they're very spaced out like this. I'm gonna use a different color. So something like this, and we can kind of use the notes we have. Let's kind of go up and then come down to this A. All right. Right, something like that, and these are great for combining with top notes and stuff. So let's change our note color, and then let's just take reference from this, pull that up. So wiggle notes, all right, these are just starting on a note, going to a different note, and then returning back to the same exact note. Okay, so we can spread it out, and you can literally put whatever you want in here. We could take the G, pull that up, and then let's just listen. Oops. Kind of like that one better. All right, so these would be kind of our wiggle areas right here. We could do some more, so let's do something like this, and then we can pull this A in, and you can throw a note before it. All right, so that's pretty much the gist of it. So I'm gonna finish this off right here, and then we can move on after that. So I'm gonna just go ahead and fast forward through this. Okay, so we're back, and pretty much I'll probably fast forward through that, but now we have multiple wiggles here. So we have this one, and then over here we put 2 and 1. So here we have this one, okay, and it's kind of like switching between this one and like this little sequence, and back here, and then in the mini one, it's obviously. So I'll just play the whole thing real quick. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next pattern. All right, so next up we have the bouncer, and this is pretty self-explanatory. So if we just took these notes, it would pretty much be a wiggle, except you would have to add another note, so it would bounce to another note. So right, and you can go down if you want to. It doesn't really matter. It's what you prefer, but this is kind of the pattern on how it would go. You can copy these over, and then kind of add some variation like that. Okay. All right, so that is the end of that. Let's move on to the next. All right, so now we have the roll. Okay, now this is a common one. Pretty much you would just roll the note down like that. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of fix these, and you would want to use a 1/6 beat for this to kind of get this sound really good. So okay, something like that, and we can copy it over. Let's add some variation. Bring it back here. All right, now with these, when you are putting these in your melody, I recommend some tape delay or something like that to kind of dilute it in the background, because these are very like harsh to just throw in like that. Okay, but that is the roll, and let's move on to our last one. All right, so now we have call and response, and this is one a lot of people know, but I just want to show you how to do it. Usually, typically, call and response will be kind of like this, so it'll kind of go up and over in motion, and the response will kind of go down, typically. But obviously, you don't want your melodies to look like this all the time. So what we can do is, I'm gonna try to keep this large. We start on C, and kind of make this will be a C minor. So, all right, so we have this going on. So what I would do is copy this over, so we can kind of keep the same tone. Okay, so we don't mess this up, because you don't want to completely change it necessarily, right? And then let's make a little melody here. Okay, so whatever we make here real quick, you want to make sure you kind of keep the same rhythm. It doesn't have to be exact, but you at least want like the main parts to be in the same spots, so it's catchy. And then I'm gonna just throw some stuff over. We can throw this F. Okay, and then over here, we could keep the same rhythm, but change the notes. So we can do this one. And just kind of go downward with this. Okay, so I'll play one more time. All right, so that is our call and response. So let's do one more real quick. It's higher. We can start on the C. Do our little wiggle. Oops. And then it should something like that. Pull this over. Right, and then we can copy this over just to make it quicker, and then just change these notes here. And this is where like you would use your ear to figure out what notes you like. right? So that is the call and response, and there are plenty more that I want to talk about, but I gotta cut it here. If you want to see that will be in part 2, so stay tuned, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.